Well, so we're going to jump right into this. Welcome everybody on this call. It's going to be talking about some supply chain, software supply chain security protection. I don't want to steal any thunder from the organization that we have, but my name is Craig Johnson. I work with the Teneo group. And as you can see on the screen, we exist to secure your network. Can you jump down one more slide? So the Teneo group is an engineering firm that's based around cybersecurity. We've been in business for a fair amount of time, enough time to know that a lot of people need some help. And that's what we're here to talk about today. Jump down one more. Teneo Group is based in the East Coast, but we're willing to travel anywhere. As you know, with COVID, everything started coming up remote. Our main target is the East Coast, but we can and have done travel all across the world to help our customers. Jump one more slide. There you go. Today, we're going to talk about one of our newest partners, Argon. They will talk about what they're going to be doing, but in a nutshell, it's about supply chain and software development. Supply chain is that part, but I'm going to let Argon talk about that, and because he's much better at his view. So what's today we're going to cover? Software supply chain, not just from the supply chain perspective of software and how other people use it, but how is it developed and what are you using and how you can protect against these pieces. So I'm going to jump right into this and let Argon introduce himself. I'm pretty sure that's his next slide.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Argon. It's in your court.
Thank you, Craig. So what we're going to talk about today is software supply chain, a little bit about market trends and recent attacks, and what are the challenges enterprises face and how together we can help you guys deal with those challenges. My name is Argon, and I'm responsible for the business at Argon, so responsible for our customers, sales, marketing, and all those activities. And in this session, I want to basically go over the modern software supply chain, what it is, and how we can work together to make sure that we secure the software that we release. When we talk about software supply chain, we are basically looking at the process that starts when a developer uploads his code or his file to the source code management of the company, all through the build, test, and deployment process until it is running in production. This is a process that today 90% of companies adopt and have it in some way of automation. And this is also one of the weakest attack surfaces in organization, mainly because of the type of tool that they are using. Those development tools are basically built for speed, automation, and collaboration, and not a lot of security in them. Now, there are three more vectors that contribute to the weak capabilities or the weak posture of this CI/CD pipeline. The first one is the complexity of those pipelines. In many organizations, we find dozens of tools and services that are taking part in this process. Some of them are cloud services, some of them are open source tools, and this environment is very dynamic, very complex, and using, as we already said, tools without security features in them. The second driver that contribute to that is the human aspect. All the configuration files, script, and activities being done by the local development team. So there are many places where you can create misconfiguration or errors and weaken or expose the process and the data. And the last thing is, I think one of the problems that we will solve, hopefully after this session, you will see how, is the lack of cooperation between the development organization and the security team. And this is mainly because until end of last year, the SolarWinds attack, there was no attention for securing the supply chain at all. So security team, they don't have the access, the knowledge, the visibility into those platforms, and it was neglected for many years. But now, with all the awareness to it, we see the issue, and we will show you how you can solve this gap. Now, over the last 12 months, we saw an increase in the amount of those attacks. The threat is getting bigger from month to month, and if we look at the latest reports, we see that the attacks numbers quadruple since 2020. Organizations today don't really have any tools to block those attacks, so it's really for the attackers to decide who to attack and when. And if we just look at one example, the attacks against open source repository and basically poisoning of open source packages. We see an increase of 650% only this year, and we're going to talk about one of those attacks and what happened there. And now you can protect yourself against attacks that try to use either open source packages or container packages, or in some cases also your own artifacts, and inject some malicious code into them and let you use it. Moving a little bit into the attacks, and I want to dive into a couple of them. So the key supply chain process. Yeah, sorry, Craig.
So, Ron, two things. I wanted to make one mention, which I failed at the very beginning. If you do have questions, please drop them in the chat and we'll ask them as we go through. We'd like to have this interactive. And we do have a question is like, why is the supply chain, software supply chains attack so significant now? What caused this to pop up?
Okay, this is a good question. So basically what we're seeing out there today is that the attackers identify the software supply chain as an easy entry point into organization. And once they do that, they are able to launch large-scale attacks, leveraging the software update mechanism and basically distribute their malicious code to tens of thousands of companies. And for example, if you look at the SolarWinds attack, so by getting their malicious code into one of SolarWinds update, they were able to expose 18,000 companies and created a backdoor that they can use after that to steal code or to get information out of them. And we saw the Pentagon, the US government, Microsoft all fell for this type of attack. And the same with the Kotkov breach, again, by attacking one company that support the pipeline, 29,000 companies were exposed to a malicious code. So a really attractive way to get in, and that can create huge damage in terms of the impact of the attack. And just to finish with the Kesaya example, so there they combine two types of attacks and started with a supply chain attack, get access to one of the update and use it to distribute ransomware to those customers and basically encrypting their network.
Wow. All right. Thanks. And I'll probably chime in again with some more questions as they pop up.
No problem. I'll be waiting for that. So I want to talk a little bit about the attacks and basically see the various steps of the pipeline, the source code management step, the build stage, and the artifacts that are responsible for deployment and also uploading packages. But also an important part is the dependencies, all those services like Kotkov, like user directory, like Jira, a lot of tools and services that connect to the pipeline that also can expose the whole process through vulnerabilities and misconfiguration. So I'll start and finish with attacks against packages. So dependency confusion is one attack techniques that Microsoft fell for it twice, where attacker took a company's package, reverse engineer it, inject some malicious code into it, and release it in a higher version out in the internet. And the artifactories are programmed to look for the outside for higher or new versions and pulled it in. And by that, cause the company to package a malicious code as part of their releases. Another big example that basically opened the discussion on software supply chain was SolarWinds. There, the attackers managed to get access to the build server, and through that, created a library to the source code that was in the compilation stage. And from that point on, anyone that used and updated their software with this latest version basically opened a backdoor to this Russian attack group to get into the organization and start moving and exploiting what they can. Example on the source code side can be the Mercedes-Benz source code leak, basically a misconfiguration on an on-prem GitLab exposed 580 repositories to the public. And in that case, the code was stolen and distributed online, and Mercedes lost it. And I want to finish with the latest attack from last week. Attackers managed to poison an NPM package with millions of downloads every month. And a lot of customers were using this package and basically had to really upgrade immediately to the newest version. So during this demo and this presentation, I'll show you exactly how you can apply strong security posture across this process protect yourself and prevent those types of software supply chain attacks, and also through this, improve the quality and the security of the code you release. Now, before we move to how to do that, I want to talk a little bit about the enterprise challenges in doing that, because our solution wouldn't be complete if we wouldn't take into consideration the customer's challenges and basically help him to deploy it. Because we all know today that there are hundreds of security solutions, and we don't want to add more solution, more work, more console to look at. So if I look at those three key challenges in the supply chain space, the first one is the risk itself. We're talking about a large number of attack vectors and entry points that need to be blocked. A lot of attacks recently, and a huge increase in the number and sophistication also of those attacks. And the last thing is lack of knowledge and lack of tools to really do that and try to prevent that. This creates basically a big advantage to the attackers compared to the defending side. The second part is about the complexity of the process itself. There's a lot of tools. There is lack of visibility and control of the security teams, and we talked about the knowledge and everything. So even if they have some visibility, they don't really familiar with all the complexity of it. And this process is siloed and is done on the security side. And I want to move to the third one that really look at both of them. And on top of that, if you look at the AppSec team that needs to deal with it, or the DevOps guys that need to support them, so we know today that in the industry there are millions of positions that are still need to be fulfilled. And usually when we talk to the AppSec team, they are overwhelmed with the amount of work that they need to do. They don't have a budget for all the tools that they want to do it. And even if we give them all the tools that they want, they don't have the manpower to really integrate everything together and build it in an effective way. So if you combine all this together, you understand that basically what you need is a solution that will provide you an effective security with minimum investment from the security teams in terms of man hours and budget, and something that will not compromise the development process, and by that get the development side of the house engaged and supportive, I mean the DevOps and the development themselves, so we can really create a very effective security on that. Now let's go and discover how you can really do that, because this was a little bit scary for me as well when I looked at it in the beginning, but there is a way to deal with it and get you to the right place.